Hello to all who find this general pick a jar collective reading. My name is Seven, and today we're going to be going over this full moon in Cancer transition and how we are able to release and refresh aspects of our collective and individual experiences in order for us to make the most of this lunar cycle and also this new year. Happy 2021. I know that we weren't able to do too much this year, but I hope that we were all able to have a very safe and happy festivity in a way that it was meaningful and also wholesome to us, especially with the big Cancer energy that we have illuminating in the atmosphere at the moment. I think that with this particular transition, it's calling for all of us to really just find out what home means to us and just what exactly are we able to find that resonates deeply with our mind, body, and soul and allows for us to liberate and also express ourselves freely and to find environments and people that are able to complement not just our transition but our evolution in this lifetime and cycle. So feel free to take a moment to just focus in on the options that we have here. We have the rose herb, the spearmint herb, and the white willow bark herb. And then we have the corresponding shapes. Under it, we have a heart, a star, and a spiral. Take a moment to pause if you need to and just sit in on the energy emanating from these entities and see what you feel the most called to and just see what exactly it is you can find in terms of insight and invocation within that particular collective. So I'll go ahead and take a moment to sit in and dive in on this energy, and I'll get started on your readings. Hello to all of you who chose the Heart Collective and the Rose as your corresponding herb for your messages. Today we're going to be focusing in on what it is you can anticipate to release and refresh throughout this full moon in Cancer lunar cycle transitioning into 2021. What I find funny about your group Heart Collective is that I actually had to refilm. It's much darker now. You will actually see it a bit brighter outside if you feel called to watch other groups as well. So at first, my mom would call me, so I took a minute to just step out and be like, you know what, I can always edit it, cut it out. And then after I had hung up the phone with her, my neighbor knocked on my door. So I think that might be a resonating theme for some of you, like so much unexpected change, or it's like where one door closes, literally another one opens immediately though. And it's kind of asking you to be a bit on your toes, but it's welcoming change. If anything, it's nothing that's too straining on the heart, mind, or soul. It's anything that's a bit revolving around it, or just a warming, inviting energy, if anything. Ooh, this actually came out in your original reading, the Page of Cups, so definitely the message still resonates. Intuition, come on, baby, you are strong. But yeah, like that warm change with the Page of Cups, which is exactly what I was talking about. Not being afraid to open your emotional depth a bit more and see what lies underneath the surface. The Page of Cups can also mean an invitation to some sort of social gathering where a connection can occur, or for others of you can also be an apology. So I definitely think that matters of the heart are at play here for you Heart Collective, who is surprised with that name. I think that you basically allowing your emotional and spiritual resonance to be at the forefront. Again, the Two of Cups. I swear these cards came out earlier. I reshuffled and everything just to make sure that I was being clear and honest and, you know, not pulling a fast one on you guys. And yeah. Wow, look at that contrast. Three of Swords at the bottom deck at this current moment, and Two of Cups had just flown out. Both of these cards were in your original spread. So yeah, I definitely see a chance to deepen connection. Whether it be internal, external, I think that you are releasing anything that does now allow you to deepen the exploration of the path and reality, or the sphere of it that you are currently revolving around, my beautiful heart collective. I think you are expanding your worldview. You are expanding the way in which you are able to relate and exist within it. But I would rather say coexist, because you make it a point to attain happiness and harmony in your own unique way in your life. And I think that this full moon in Cancer energy is asking you to release anyone that does not yes, here we go. Right over here we have the universe card. Oh, how beautiful. And right here, I'm not too fast with my Roman numerals, so let me check this booklet just to make sure. Yes, sir. We got the Hermit right over here for you guys as well. So the Hermit coming out with the universe, this is a very big spiritual enlightenment for a lot of you, deepening again that connection with the world around you. The Hermit is all about attaining wisdom, but attaining wisdom so he's able to better understand the state of the universe. And the universe in this particular deck, this is the quantum deck that I'm using, by the way. I will make sure I put that name down below so you are able to shop and look at it at your own free time. I think that you are deepening your connection with the world around you, and you are gaining a lot of introspection and wisdom on your particular emotional and spiritual plane, and for you to release anything that does not serve to engage your sense of curiosity. The way I see the Page of Cups is a bit childlike, but not in a way where it's necessarily immature unless it's reversed. However, it's upright for you guys. So I think it's just about engaging in possibility with a childlike sense of curiosity. Ooh, we have the Queen of Cups now at the forefront. You are such a watery group, my Rose. I should say heart collective. But I'm not surprised because both the rose herb is corresponding to the heart chakra, and the heart as well, our emotional space, which is why I put that as the symbol for this group. So I really don't think that it's any coincidence at all. I don't really believe in coincidences, but I think that it's an evolution in your emotional space and what you are able to manifest for yourself, allowing your inner and outer world to reflect. And I think also maybe releasing any sense of loneliness. I feel feeling very disconnected from the world around you. The Hermit does go away, but while he is away, he is still obtaining insight. He is still making it his business to engage with the world in his own way every day, not necessarily in a social spectrum, but more on a universal metaphysical spectrum, I should say. But in that, he's able to strengthen his emotional and spiritual resonance, and therefore attract in people, places, and opportunities that are much more attuned with his evolution. Right now, we have the Queen of Swords. Yes, cutting out the bullshit, not being afraid to be very open and honest with your emotional world, taking all the new information that you receive about yourself and the people around you, allowing yourself to examine the sincerity of the company that you keep. And for a lot of you, I feel that you are finding yourself in good company, if anything. I think that you are finally acclaiming spaces and relationships that are complementary to who you are and all that you have been working for, and that this is simply time for you to assure that it can continue to sustain itself without you having to constantly put energy and magic into it. I'm going to adjust this lamp. We are officially enlightened, and I have returned. Heart Collective, what's up with y'all, baby? But again, refreshing your sense of enlightenment. I think that's exactly why that lamp went out just now. I think that it's kind of like allowing a different light bulb to go off on top of your head, right where your crown shines. So here we are again. This card fell on the floor, but don't think that it's a surprise considering which card this is. This is the Five of Wands over here. So yeah, not being afraid to assert the necessary boundaries that you need in order for you to be fully immersed in this period of introspection that you are engaging in. I think that your heart and your mind are at the forefront right now, and that you are finding ways in which you are allowing both of the voices that guide these spaces to exist, so you are able to cultivate the best version of yourself and your reality possible. I also think that with Five of Wands here, it does also at times involve outside parties and their opinions, but I don't always see it as a harsh exchange of words. I sometimes see it as like a passive criticism or simply a disagreement. I don't ever see a Five of Wands as a hostile energy, but I do see it as a challenging energy. For some of you, this might also be you overcoming your own inner critic, and not pitting two beautiful queens against each other and just allowing both to exist on their own wave. I think maybe that's what the Two of Cups is for some of you. Releasing anything that does not allow for you to achieve peace within your metaphysical and physical reality. For others of you, I definitely think that there will be another person that comes in that's very complimentary to you, but at first because you have different ways of operating, even if your goals are the same, it might at first present itself as a confliction. However, all the time that you take within this particular period of introspection with the Hermit, because I think that this person will come after you take that moment for yourself, for you to really finalize the world that you were building, and now you are finally becoming immersed in it. I think that once they do come into your life, it'll be after this period, and that you will have a much stronger stance with your emotional and spiritual progression than you are currently embarking on. They'll be able to complement that, but at first you won't be able to see that because they might be a bit too logical for you. There's definitely the balance of the logical and the illogical, I should say, and how things aren't always as they seem, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad, and how challenges doesn't always have or the word challenge, I should say, doesn't have a fate of failure. There's always the possibility to turn around that obstacle when it presents itself and allow it to become something that you can use in your benefit, if anything. Oh, wow. So we got the King of Swords here. Yeah, so for some of you, you're getting booed up, for sure, with with that beautiful king complimenting his queen over here. Let me actually show you guys the card. It's really cool. It's a huge sword over here, so you know he means business. And then he has the star in his hand, which is his guiding light, his guiding sense of enlightenment, which is beautiful. For others of you, I think that this is about more so delegating, again, the people around you, because we have many court figures presenting themselves in this. And then we have the World and the Three of Cups. Aw. Yeah, definitely closing a chapter in order for something a bit more light yet logical to come in, which I know seems to be such a glaring dichotomy, but I definitely think that a lot of you need to embrace how fluid you and the world around you truly are. I think that you are being introduced to that possibility, and that you are deepening that notion throughout this period, just releasing any former expectations of what you perceive your sense of evolution to be, and refreshing your spirit's current path so you can embark on something with more wisdom, with more spontaneity. I'm hearing for some of you. I feel like some of you tend to want something and your heart yearns for it, yet you tend to hold yourself back a bit anyways. So I definitely think that this is your time to allow yourself to really get a little deeper, dig a little deeper into your emotional and metaphysical space, and see what exactly the commonalities are between the two, so you're able to marry and merge those two worlds in a way that is free of the sense of loneliness that you feel. I feel like it's a sense of belonging that a lot of you have been looking for and have been wanting to feel. Belonging, whether it's with an environment or with people, or belonging and simply by meaning a sense of closure, especially with that world card, like feeling like you're in the right place at the right time and that things do happen for a reason. Belonging to not just yourself, but also something greater than yourself. That sense of purpose, I feel, is what's being not necessarily ignited, but I want to say it's more so flourishing. But I feel that the main confliction within this is the possibility of challenge. Even though the challenges are slight or the challenges aren't too drastic, there's still enough to ward you off from wanting to indulge a little bit in your playfulness and curiosity. But I think it's time that you do. I think it's time that you step out from being a bit more rigid in your way of thinking with the Queen of Swords, even though she's very forthright and she's very blunt and very logical. At times, it's always good for her and for any king or queen at that to step off their throne and view the world from another lens or from another perspective. So I think that's what you're really being pushed to do, my heart collective, is to expand that heart space a little bit and see just how exactly you're able to play around with it in a way that's safe and fun for you, and releasing anything that does not allow you to feel assured within your mind, body, and soul. Especially with the Three of Cups here, again, it's that very playful energy that's present. Especially with the Two of Cups and the Three of Cups. That's why I say for some of you, this might be a love situation. Finding someone that's so much more complimentary to you than you had originally anticipated. I think that, especially with the two queens here, I don't necessarily see this as a for some of you, I do see this as releasing a third-party situation, actually, now that I'm tuning into it. See, feeling as if you have to constantly fight for someone else's attention or affection, I should say. I think that it's time that you release that in order for your heart space to not just expand, but allow in somebody that is solely focused on you. And I think that you will definitely get that happy ending that you are seeking once you cut off the bad patterns that are prohibiting you from acclaiming something much greater than the current circumstance you are entertaining. For others of you, this isn't necessarily a third-party situation, but it may feel that you have this this logical mind and this big heart, and you're wondering if this person can understand your complexity. Especially if the way in which you meet is initially very lighthearted. I think that you're a lot heavier than you initially lead on, and you're wondering if that first impression is going to be their only impression of you, and if you're able to keep up with appearances, especially that the Queen of Cups is so rich in emotional depth and wellness that, you know, when you are able to fully indulge in that emotional world, you aren't always going to be the happiest. You know, that's just not realistic. Healing is not sunshine and rainbows. It's not all smiles and giggles. It's hard work. It's very, very hard work. And it takes time, it takes energy, it takes devotion at that. And that is something that you have recently gone through. And now that you're in this very big Queen of Swords energy, this person comes along and they rattle you a little bit, and you're wondering if they're able to really understand what lies beneath that surface, like we were talking about earlier. Not all is as it leads on to be. So I definitely think that they will, for one. And I think that even though they see how complex you are, I don't think that they're going to shy away from that beautiful, fun energy that you two initially meet on. I think that, if anything, they match that very spontaneous air energy very well. And actually, they enjoy poking around in your headspace a little bit, I'm hearing, and just being able to see what all of you really is. I think that some of you may be a bit hesitant because in the past you've wondered if people are willing to accept you while you're undergoing so much internal change and it's becoming external now. And you're wondering if other people are willing to stick along throughout all of it. But I definitely see that a lot of people are. And if anyone isn't, this is definitely your time to release them accordingly, or release any situations or environments accordingly that don't allow all of you to just be present. It's a very similar messages to another group that I have, but I think that with this Cancer energy, it's kind of all matters of the heart in a way, and also pushing all of us to just be very authentic with who we are. Cancer is very emotional, but they're very honest about their emotions, even if some people don't necessarily like the way in which they are presenting them. They definitely aren't shy about how they feel, and if they are, you will definitely know at some point very randomly. But I think that Cancers are very good at, even if it's passive, exhibiting that they feel some type of way. But ultimately, I feel they have the harder time verbally expressing their boundaries and results of them feeling some type of way. So I think that for a lot of you, it's just about asserting those boundaries, especially after you've had that period of introspection, and not allowing yourself to hold yourself back, really. I don't think that, especially with the Hermit here, you're meant to, constantly be in the cave. I think that this is your way out. And I think that in time, even if you're only just now stepping into this Hermit period, in time you are going to feel so much more centered in who you are. And you're going to be able to freely share that with the world and the people around you. So if you don't feel as if you're ready to truly share yourself with another person, then feel free to step into that Hermit period and take all the time that you need in order for you to feel your most rooted and your most authentic and sincere. For others of you, if you have recently undergone this Hermit period and are now stepping back out into the world and going, well, what next? And keeping that emotional well present, while also ensuring that nobody drains it dry, and that you are able to defend the land and the sea accordingly, with the Queen of Swords here, accompanied by the Queen of Cups. I think that there really won't be as much confliction as you anticipate. I really don't think that. And if there is, it's definitely something that you are able to talk your way out of, which is confirmed with the Trust by the Leopard Delight card that fell out of the Eternal Oracle gem. Excuse me, before I continue to go a little further, I do want to point out that your bottom deck energy of the Quantum Tarot over here, let me actually show you this properly. Well, the Queen of Pentacles flew out with it, so I'm going to keep her present, but what came on top of this particular card is the Five of Pentacles. So there is a bit of a feeling of loss associated with all of this. You are mourning a former part of yourself, so take all the time that you need to fully shut off all of the old skin. But I don't think that you're leaving anyone or anything behind within this transitional period and this acclamation of power that you are going through. I definitely think that anyone that isn't able to invest in you throughout this time is simply someone that was never going to invest in you in the first place. To be very honest with you, my Heart Collective, I'm sorry if that sounds a bit harsh or a bit abrupt, but I definitely just can't see how anyone in your life that doesn't acknowledge your complexity is able to properly serve as a reinforcing figure to you, especially in this very delicate stage of incubation that you had recently undergone or are currently undergoing, with the Page of Cups being present in your reading. So I'm gonna put this here and let's keep it going. And the Queen of Cups on there, yeah, I definitely think that with Whoa, here, where are we? Five of Pentacles as your bottom deck, with the Queen of Pentacles being under the Five of Pentacles energy. I definitely think that there is no loss. The Queen of Pentacles knows that everything she has for a reason, and anything she does not have, she let it go accordingly. She is not insecure about any physical, tangible representations of herself, because she knows who she is. She knows her integrity. She knows her character. She knows her way forward, and she is not afraid to stand firm in her reality because she knows that it is just. And then we have mental strength. Yes, hematite coming out. And let's get one more oracle card for my beautiful heart collective. What can they expect to release and refresh in their full moon Cancer lunar cycle and their experience? Transitioning to 2021. Woo! Asking you shall receive. Hello, I am back. I've gotten the card. And you have Carnelian now for your third oracle. Put that right there. Your bottom deck energy is Angelite. Angels. How beautiful. Yes, I definitely think this is, again, a spiritual enlightenment for many of you. And just acclaiming your individual divinity and ethereal self. And not being afraid to express it and finding other people that complement it and releasing anyone that brushes it off or sees it as unrealistic. So with the lepidolite being right over here, this is trust. This is the third eye and crown chakra. So I definitely think that intuitive downloads, as we were talking about, is going to be a very big theme for you guys. I think that keeping your meditation or magical space very clear will be very, very helpful for you, and also having a set routine that allows your mind to retain its equilibrium and recalibrate it on a day-to-day basis will be very, very important for you throughout this time. Anything that allows you to stand still within yourself is going to be immensely helpful, especially with the hematite card being present here. This is all about mental strength, the root chakra. Hematite is also linked to Aries, if I'm not mistaken. So it's all about that sense of passion being at the forefront, but utilizing it in a way that is not only complementary, but empowering to your mind, and not just your mind, but like we were talking about, your body and your soul as well. Because the root chakra that the hematite corresponds to is all about home energy, all about your internal stamina. And I also consider the root chakra to be the epicenter of the 7 chakra system as well. So allowing yourself to feel very affirmed in who you are and the messages and growth that you have been undergoing is very important to you, and having other people that also see the work that you have been putting in is also very not just gratifying, but also what's the word I'm looking for? Humbling. That's what I'm like. That's what I was going for. Very humbling to you. I think that your particular group is very baby internally. But in a way, that's beautiful, because babies have such a beautiful sense of purity about them, and they're new forms of life. And even if they're physically new forms of life, you know, all spirits are old, and they manage to manifest in different vessels and shapes over and over again until they reach a particular cycle and that ends. I definitely think that this is just you engaging it more again in that Cancerian rebirth energy, my beautiful heart collective, rebirthing your heart space, rebirthing your spirit really, and allowing it to just be, allowing it to be kind of like a toddler just running around, you know. And you know, other people might be like, somebody needs to put that kid on a leash, but you're like, no, let that kid run around. I think that you need to have that same approach for yourself, you know, just allowing you to be free of any and all former expectations of yourself, because now that, especially with the Page of Cups, you're embarking on this much more nuanced depth and translation of your experience. And I think that in order for you to really make the most of it, it's important for you to just be open to all of you and release anything that serves as a bit of a judgment to who you are, especially with the Carnelian card right here. This is all about self-confidence. So perhaps in the past, I know that with water energy, when people poke fun at them, it can be easy for those wounds to sting. As a water moon myself, I can confirm. So I definitely think that make ensuring that the people around you boost your confidence as you boost your own by exploring more in your own wisdom and depth is key here. And assuring yourself that you are doing the best you can every single day, and whatever you cannot do today, you will do tomorrow. Not only is it corresponding to that, but it also corresponds to the root and sacral chakra. So this is all about endurance as well. And I think endurance is also about pace and knowing your particular pace as well. And again, being very realistic, not being your own shitty boss, if that makes sense, and not overbooking your own schedule or allowing other people to overbook it for you and you just take it. Making sure that you are very firm in the boundaries that you set for yourself and very firm in the power that you would claim for yourself, and not letting anyone take it away from you or attempt to, even if you're standing very confidently in it. That's when people are going to be the most provoked to challenge it. So don't feel as if you're doing anything wrong, or you're not doing things with your most engaged form of energy if other people rise up to you and try to challenge or put down all the changes that you have recently gone through. I definitely think that if anything, they're serving as checkpoints and reminders for you to stand firm in it and not be afraid to put your foot down if you need to, and stand very firm. The Queen of Swords is most definitely not afraid to put her foot down and tell other people to shut the hell up, especially when they don't know what they're talking about or don't know her and want to talk anyways. And she knows herself, she knows her kingdom, she knows what exactly her mind is capable of. And again, irregardless of gender, we all have feminine and masculine entities that guide us and also surround us and live within us as well. So let's get one more card for you guys. Oh, it came out. This is the Angelarium Oracle that I'm using to get your last message for you, my beautiful heart collective. The Angel of Vengeance. Yes, your bottom deck energy is the Angel of Night. Ooh, I think it's funny that I had to refilm you guys, and it's actually nighttime out right now. So this definitely happened for a reason. She is a bad bitch, by the way. Do you see her with the moon in the back? Oh, wait, I want to see if you can see it a little better. There we go. There's a beautiful moon in the back there, and then she's standing like dressed like a Final Fantasy character. Like, yes. Ooh, as she presented herself, the lamp went off again. That's how you know it's real. Let me fix this up. I have it standing here on my table, but I think that because the wire's a bit janky, it tends to go off of it. But she's fixed now, so we're all good. So going into Simikiel, there we go. Going to Simikiel, he is our beautiful Angel of Vengeance here. Vengeance does not have to be violent. I would like to point that out first and foremost. I see this as your redemption arc for many of you. I think that now that you have seen the logical and material world for all it is, it's time for you to engage in your emotional world in a way when you are not only actively engaged in it, but also defending it and not being afraid, again, with that Queen of Swords energy, to eradicate anyone or anything that does not respect it, let alone empower it. I think that putting your foot down is a very big theme, but also your spirit also redeeming its power, redeeming its frequency, redeeming its position in this plane is a very, very big theme for many of you. Your spirit finally being at the forefront and really going through all of the karma and the general soul contracts that it signed itself up for, or it knew it was going to, in some way, shape, or form, encounter within this particular realm and experience. I think that your spirit is finally being a bit tested, but not in a way where you will lose, again, because this is the Angel of Vengeance. I don't think that you're gonna lose, my beautiful spirit. He has a big sword here. There's also a bit of a web behind him, and he's also casting a small flame here. So his energy is still accumulating as I see it, and he still has this physical weapon. I see this as that sword energy, that logical truth, and he's accumulating that metaphysical weapon over here in this hand. So it's a dual wielded moment, which is why I think the Queen of Cups and the Queen of Swords energy is also present down here for many of you. Being able to see power in both sides of you and respecting all of your spectrum, finding all of the power that lies within its individual epicenters, if that makes sense, kind of like the root chakra, like we were talking about earlier, finding ways in which all of it is able to not just freely flow within your realm, but also feel defended and empowered and honored, most importantly as well. So that is what I am seeing for you, my beautiful heart collective. You actually got the longest reading out of everybody, which I don't think is any coincidence considering I had to refilm it. But again, do take the messages as they resonate. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns down below. I'll get to them as to the best of my ability, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you and working with you soon. Hello to all who chose the Star Collective and the Spearmint jar as their corresponding herb. Today we're going to get into your collective messages for what you can release and refresh throughout this full moon in Cancer lunar cycle in order for you to make the most out of your experience. And also considering that we're getting right into 2021, I feel like it'll be a nice way forward, putting our best foot forward into the right direction and being able to embark on paths, decisions, and even livelihoods that are much more aligned with who we really are. Spearmint is in correspondence to the throat chakra, so I wouldn't be surprised if for some of you this may be more so engaged in the ways you're able to talk and relate to yourself or the people around you. But of course we're going to let Tarot get into that and see just what exactly it is that she has to say. The Heart Collective, which came right before you, had such a beautiful reading, and I think that, well, you have Temperance is the heart of your reading, which just flew out once I started shuffling. The heart of the reading I consider to be like the roots of the release and refreshment. So it's definitely about balance for many of you, and this is big Sagittarius energy, so perhaps something that has shaken up a bit throughout Sagittarius season, especially when we had that big solar eclipse, which was the new moon in Sagittarius earlier within the month. I think that it's been a bit more about you finding purpose and fluidity within yourself and being able to allow both to coexist harmoniously. I like Temperance because it reminds us to keep that sense of alchemy alive within us and not be afraid to really experiment with balance and the notion of duality, and to see just what exactly it is that we are able to find within the universe that resonates on similar yet different wavelengths. The two cards that just popped out that I got were the Ace of Cups, which is this card right here, and also the Four of Pentacles. So I definitely think that this release has to be in regards to emotions. I think that an emotional opportunity has presented itself. I think that maybe this either presented recently or will manifest and present soon, that is challenging what it is that you have now, but you perceive it more of a threat than it needs to be, I'm hearing. With the Ace of Cups here, I always see that as actual refreshment and replenishment, an opportunity to engage in a new way of feeling. I always see it as some sort of spiritual enlightenment or even a spiritual rebirth, more so. And with the Four of Pentacles, which is much more earthly, kind of counteracting it, I do see this as the Capricorn Sun and Moon opposition. I think that finding common ground between your emotional and physical needs are at the forefront for you, and being able to release anything that prevents you from allowing them to exist on a balanced scale. I think that more often than not, you end up prioritizing more than the other, and in doing so, it doesn't leave you feeling as fulfilled as you should. You take steps in the right direction, but because your energy is so scattered, you're not able to make the most of the new opportunities that present themselves. So I think that throughout this period, you're being challenged to release anything that doesn't allow you to create an equilibrium within your emotional and physical sphere of reality, and allowing both to again resonate differently but similarly enough that you're able to navigate them with ease. Let's get some more tarot to clarify what we got going on here. Ooh, we have the Nine of Pentacles, yes. So it's all about cultivation, all about standing firmly with not just within our decisions, but within our way of being, and allowing ourselves to feel absolutely adored and also proud of all that we are able to accumulate and create for ourselves. There definitely is, with the nine present, there's something that is currently being pushed a bit in order for you to achieve a grander stage of existence. I think that a lot of you have definitely worked hard to accumulate everything that you have, and I think that your need for physical security is always at the forefront. You never allow yourselves to shy from the necessary weight of hard work within your lives, and whatever that means to you. I definitely think that with a lot of the earth energy here, where I feel like maybe some of you might be earth signs, and as a Taurus myself, I do find myself a bit difficulty of at once putting my internal world on the back burner in order for me to rise and grind essentially. So I think that a lot of you have definitely achieved success, and you've definitely achieved a standing in which you are actually proud of. But I feel like when something comes along and challenges it, you aren't able to see just how you're able to release and adapt certain aspects of your life that allow for you to live a bit more freely and flow a little bit more, as opposed to having a much more rigid structure at hand. I think that some of you long for that sense of flow. Yes, here, the Seven of Wands. There definitely is a sense of defensiveness present. Sorry if I slighted you, or if you feel as if I did when I say that. But with the Seven of Wands here, in combination with the Nine of Pentacles, I feel like that need again for stability is always first and foremost. If you hear squeaking, that is my dog. Please forgive her. But I would like her to have fun, so I'm gonna allow her to do that. So with the Seven of Wands here, I definitely think that some of you feel you have to constantly fight for everything that you have wanted and claimed for yourself. It really is, again, that ethic of hard work being very prominent in your lives. And I definitely think that for many of you, you always ensure that whatever decisions you make for yourself, that they're profitable and lucrative. But I feel as if you always have to kind of be your own lawyer when rationalizing in your head if it's the right thing to do or not, or telling yourself if it's necessary to invest and devote so much time to these projects that are lucrative and more securing of your material world, that is it right for you to not necessarily devote that same attitude or ambition to your internal world. And then here, I believe this is Judgment, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, exactly. Spiritual purpose and calling, for sure. So I definitely think that your spirit has kind of reached a bit of a breaking point, if I'm not lying. It's kind of really, really pushing you to make decisions that are much more in accordance with who you really are, and not just what you deem to be stability or security. There's a deeper sense of it that you are looking to proclaim, but you have to release this attachment to the material world and the security within it. I am here. I am engaged again. Hello, hello. But back to the Judgment card that we were getting a bit into. It's again that soul calling and soul purpose that's at the forefront. I think that it's time that you release your former attachment to the material realm and only seeing success in that. I think that you are being asked to acclaim a form of evolution and success within your metaphysical and internal reality in order for you to make the most of your existence and to really feel a true sense of fulfillment internally and externally, and for you to release anything again that imposes itself as a barrier between your internal and external world. This really is about, again, that throat chakra, not only speaking your truth, but living your truth, allowing yourself to be fully aware of all that you are and allowing it to shine forward and allowing your inner light to guide you throughout your decision making, most importantly. I definitely think that for some of you, this will also be um, asking you to even like make a sudden decision or a sudden switch in terms of your expectations or stride of progress. And you might feel a bit defensive about it at first, but I think that it's leading you to somewhere that is much more prosperous than you had been originally gunning for with whatever it is this Nine of Pentacles and Seven of Wands opportunity is. I think that there's another opportunity that will present itself to you, especially during like the end of this cycle, leaning more into the new moon cycle, which will be in sometime in January next year. I definitely have to look to see what sign that will be in to give us a little cute little reading on that. But that aside, this is about you, my beautiful star collective. I think that you choosing the star group is very fitting. Consider we have a lot of pentacles which take the form of stars in this particular deck, and also you really allowing your ethereal self to be as your guiding light throughout this progressional period of your life. I think that any changes that do occur are definitely in a very almost eerie sense of divine orchestration, and that you there's definitely something here at play that is much bigger than you, but I think you have to be a bit more open to it in order for you to receive the full benefits of this enlightenment that you are now embarking on. I think you have to be a bit more unabashed to explore your internal world, my star collective. Or if you have been doing that, I think for others of you, this is simply going to be a bit of a shift in terms of what it is that you were originally doing, and it kind of alters your course a bit in your particular study or craft. But this will definitely be a new way of practicing or feeling that is going to be much easier for you to invoke, let alone work with, so you can have a very harmonious balance with your universe and all the energies that present themselves within it. So let's get 2 more tarot cards here, please. What can my beautiful star collective expect? Oof, automatically 2 cards. Ask and you shall receive. Okay, Spirit. Heard you, mama. And wow, I got 2 cards and one of them literally is the number 2. Your bottom deck energy is 3 of Wands. Yes, expansion, but expansion with purpose and intent. Most importantly, passion at the forefront. I think that for some of you, instead of just taking a regular job like you're used to doing, and even though it provides the sense of stability that you need, suddenly you're switching over into something that you find a bit hard to juggle at first, but it's definitely not only much more lucrative, but also gives you a much better work-life balance than before. The first card that popped out for you was the 2 of Pentacles, and then right after that it was the 8 of Wands. So again, it's that very swift and sudden change of events that this Judgment card invokes, but it's again much more attuned to you. I definitely think that with the 8 of Wands here, it's all about fast moving messages coming forward. Sometimes they are a bit brash in presentation, but they always pull forward with passion at the forefront, again with that 3 of Wands present. So I think that the reason why you end up releasing this old job cycle or form of employment project, or even for some of you that are going to school, even maybe like changing a major, that might be a bit of a theme for you. For others of you, it's even starting your own business, I'm hearing. I think that at first it's going to definitely require a bit of adjustments in terms of your internal and external sense of structure, like we were talking about earlier, but I think that it's going to allow you to too much. Too much time on your hands. That's what I'm hearing for some of you. And I feel like you're gonna be like, well, what the hell do I do with all this time? I think that playing around with your daily routine will be key in helping you release any outdated ways of being, so you don't feel so attached to the very physical realm of work that we have, especially considering that the form of economy that we have is pretty much built on the exploitation of workers, to the point where we don't necessarily have a sense of balance between our life outside of work and our life at work. In America, it's not common for most households to be pushing 40 to 50 hours a week on work alone, and that leaves you very little time throughout the week for you to focus on what exactly makes you happy or what exactly makes you feel the most secured aside from a paycheck. So I think that's the calling that this Star Collective will be experiencing. But I definitely think that this change of pace is necessary in order for you to achieve inner and outer balance. So whatever adjustments you make in terms of your schedule, in terms of your work, in terms of your home, even like maybe building a space or getting a small space within your home so you're able to work a bit more, getting things to optimize that space so it doesn't feel as cluttered. I think that's going to definitely be the big thing, because with Three of Wands as your bottom deck energy, there is definitely expansion at the forefront. But it's expansion in the traditional Rider Waite. It's also with the globe present, or at least I think that was on my excuse me, that was not on the Rider deck. That was on my first deck that I ever used, the Tower of a Moon Garden. He has a globe in one of his hands, and then he has three staffs next to him. So that's what kind of this is reminding me of. It's that sense of calling, and also utilizing wisdom, universal wisdom at that, as your mentor in this decision-making process for yourself, and also later this adjustment period. I think that for some of you, again, with that Seven of Wands here, you might have a bit of a difficult time adjusting at first. However, I think that once you're able to really put all your cards on the table, as we are doing right now, and allow logistics to be at the forefront and schedule accordingly, I think that you'll definitely find your means of progressing to be much faster, and also you'll build ambition and intensity for your project and purpose throughout the way. So it's this big burst of excitement I'm seeing for a lot of you. I feel like your waters were being tested for a little bit, and that with this particular lunar cycle, it's simply forming a bit of a wave, but a very big wave at that coming towards you. But it doesn't necessarily have to crash into you, because I don't think you're in the water looking at it. I think you're on the shore watching it crash along the beach. And it's up to you if you want to approach the wave and see what it washes ashore or not, and see if it leaves like any shells or remnants of the ocean that are able to really soothe and nurture your soul. So it's honestly really, really nice. I think that balance is key in absolutely anything, of course, but definitely when it comes down to matters of the mind, body, and soul, it all has to exist on its own equilibrium. And I feel like it's very easy for us to forget that there is a delicate balance to be maintained between the three. But once we are able to be mindful of their individual and collective presence, we are able to make decisions accordingly that best honor and respect its pace and its current form of energy as well. So let's get a little bit into some oracle cards for you, my beautiful Star Collective, and let's see just what exactly it is that we got going on for releasing and refreshing during your full moon in Cancer lunar cycle. What can the Star Collective release and refresh for their full moon in Cancer lunar cycle, transitioning into 2021? Ooh. All right, let's get two more. Put that over here. What can the Star Collective release and refresh in their experience? Full moon Cancer lunar cycle for 2021. Ooh, 2 cards. Asking you shall receive. Thank you, Spirit. Your bottom deck energy is the Tiger's Eye. Ooh, which is beautiful. This is for your solar plexus chakra, so definitely that sense of passion, like we were talking about earlier, that very creative, robust energy being cultivated right now. And it's a bit unexpected for some of you, but I feel like for others of you, you knew that something had to give and push comes to shove, and this is the call that you need in order for you to make adjustments accordingly. So your 3 cards, oh, this is the red and blue. This is definitely all about balance. But let's get into all of them. So the first one that you have is Apophyllite, and it is connect with the 3rd and crown chakra. So definitely, like we were talking about earlier, allowing your intuition to lead the way. And what I find interesting about this particular gem card is that it looks like a star, so very appropriate and fitting for your particular group. But also, again, about that intuition and about our metaphysical and physical bodies to become united and to allow them to come together to make decisions, not letting one make decisions while the other one is on the back burner, but allowing them both to be at the forefront, communicate accordingly, being able to identify how their individual resonances and voices sound, and moving forward from there, and allowing us to pave a way forward, or pave a life that is so much more meaningful than this, very 3D materialistic realm that we were in for quite some time, allowing our inner light to really shine and not being afraid to allow it to do so, and not feeling as if we're losing anything by allowing it to do so, most importantly. And now here we have the garnet, which is all about commitment. This is your heart and sacral chakra. And here we have aquamarine, which is courage, your throat chakra. Ooh, didn't I say we were going to talk a little about that throat chakra earlier? Come on, intuition. Yes, Miss Thing. She's always present. What's up with it? So with the garnet here, I definitely think that with the commitment, it's, again, you committing to a higher calling, a higher sense of purpose, a higher sense of being, living, and existing. And really just taking the time necessary in order for you to collect the necessary information, let alone ambition, so you can put your best foot forward going into 2021, and also allow yourself to embark on a reality that is much more expansive and deep than you had been living in 2020. I think 2020 really allowed all of us to take a long, hard look at the lives we were leading. And now that we are going into this new year, and there is a lot of change about in terms of our social and political climate and circumstance, I think that a lot of us are now going to be enacting on those realizations and coming to terms with the adjustments that are necessary. Especially with this aquamarine here, this is all about courage and the throat chakra. Again, speaking our truth, like we were talking about earlier, and not being afraid to utilize the very Mercurian energy of the throat chakra, but in a way that actually complements our emotional realm, as opposed to simply ruling it out or not allowing it to coexist on the spectrum of logistics. I think that allowing both to exist within their own frequency is necessary for you, my Star Collective, and also being aware of, I love how we have those beautiful like blue lights going over it like that. Oh, that's so pretty. That's just the light from my camera. To be very clear, these are very shiny cards, but I think that it shining on the blue so brightly is very fitting for the energy that you're stepping into. I definitely also think that with this aquamarine card here, again, not being afraid to be open to the possibilities that are around you and surround you, I should say, and also being able to look at all of them and seeing them for all that they are, getting the ins and outs of all of these opportunities, and being able to make those necessary adjustments like we were talking about earlier with the Two of Pentacles, by looking in to see just how are we able to apply this change into our day-to-day, and how can we make it a permanent or temporary part of our existence? It is always up to us. We always have the ability to change our fate in ways of being and resonating on this plane. The power of free will is always there for us to exercise, and with that power we are able to change fate and at times destiny. So I think that if you are on that path and are really looking to completely switch lanes, this is your blue light to tell you, yes, go. It is time for you to do something different, time for you to do something that you'll feel proud of, not just see as something to be proud of, or other people to see as something to be proud of. I think this is time for you to feel proud of who you are and all that you have been able to acclaim and make for yourself, let alone say and speak into existence for yourself. I think that you have so much more divine power than you realize, my Star Collective. I think that this past year has definitely challenged your connection to the divine, or even if you have been strengthening it, you are still exploring it in your own unique way. And I think that this is kind of the big aha moment that you have been looking for if you are someone that is on the intuitive spectrum of this collective reading. If you are someone that's a bit more on the materialistic spectrum, this is asking for you to allow that to still be at the forefront, because again, we all need to acclaim a sense of physical stability. We need to eat, sleep, and breathe at peace every single day. But I think that this is really allowing for your emotional and intuitive world to also merge together with your physical world, and for allowing all of them to coexist, which you probably once thought was not possible, and allowing them all to maintain an equilibrium so you can feel truly fulfilled out of exercising within all of these planes of existence in your sphere of reality. So let's get one Angelarium Oracle card for you to wrap up your beautiful reading, my Star Collective. What can they expect for their full moon in Cancer lunar cycle to release and refresh within their experience, stepping into 2021? Whoop. 1, asking you shall receive. Speaking of fire energy, your Angelarium card is Uriel, the Angel of Flame. What I think is beautiful is on this particular card, he has 4 hands, as you can see, and he has this very fiery, embery background surrounding him. So again, passion at the forefront, like we were talking about earlier. So I definitely think, again, like igniting that flame and allowing it to shine, and utilizing it wisely by putting it in a lantern and guiding your way forward. I definitely think that is the theme of your particular message, my beautiful Star Collective. It is asking for you to see what truly ignites you on this play, what makes you feel your most fiery, what makes you feel your most ambitious, what makes you feel your most engaged and present in this spectrum, and how can you make that a physical part of your everyday life, and how are you able to utilize the energy of having this present to play into your individual and later collective ascension. This is all about having that sense of intensity present, but allowing that intensity to be transmuted in a positive way and in a way that is beneficial not just for you but the people around you, and for you to also not be afraid to allow that inner world to shine through. Because I feel like for some of you, that emotional depth that you have, or that spiritual depth that you may have, may be a bit intense, and so some of us, we might be a bit wary of our own intensity, but it is nothing to fear, for it is you, and you are a sum of your parts. And I think it is imperative for this particular group to see what makes them feel the most grounded, so they don't allow the flames to scatter into a wildfire as well, releasing anything that not only does not spark the flame, but also anything that fuels the flame to the point where it gets out of control. I think that delegation is balanced here, and even though Sagittarius is the card that rules temperance, temperance has water in it as well, so it's about that balance of energy, that balance of matter, the balance of all universal essences and allowing them to come together whenever necessary, but also freely exist individually. I think maintaining that sense of structure and balance within your life is definitely coming into fruition, my beautiful star collective. And for you to refresh your sense of connection with the world around you and your connection with your inner world is definitely on the horizon. I'm very excited for you, and I'm very excited to see just what exactly it is you'll be able to make with all of this new information and passion that is being kindled within your spirit at the moment. So that is what I am seeing for you. Please feel free to leave me any comments, questions, or concerns down below, and I will get to them to the best of my ability. I hope that this resonates with you, and I'm looking forward to seeing and working with you soon. Bye! Hello to my beautiful spiral collective who chose the white willow bark as their corresponding herb for today's collective reading. I'm going to pop this right over here. So today we're going to be focusing in on your collective full moon and Cancer energy and how that's going to spill on over into 2021. See how we're able to release and refresh aspects of our existence on this plane and others in order for us to be able to leave room to invite in and invoke newer, higher forms of energy. Whoop. Already, speaking of, Mr. King of Cups has presented himself. Hello, sir. That's the heart of the reading. I'm going to go ahead and leave that right over there for you guys. So, off the bat, definitely our emotional depth is at the forefront. White willow bark is an herb that's very much in correspondence to the divine feminine. And even though the King of Cups presents himself as a more masculine figure, I think that he definitely has the empathy and sensitivity that is so much more akin to the divine feminine spectrum, and how, again, even though energies aren't always physically manifested in terms of sexual forms, I definitely think the ways in which they present, let alone express themselves, is drastically different. I think that it's very interesting to note just how you can have a mixture of masculine feminine energy and how one is more prominent than the other. So I definitely think that with the King of Cups, in terms of releasing and refreshing in your life, I think that your emotional expression is really up for transformation here, my spiral collective. And I think that it's also no surprise that the spiral collective gets the King of Cups either, because that's focusing in on the sequence that are seen on so many different kinds of shells and former embodiments of existence that we see, like on beach shores, for example. I actually have 2 shells on that I always use during readings. They help me feel not only soothed but very attuned to the energy around me. As a water moon, it also helps me really tap into those channeled messages. So let's get a little bit more into the cards actually before I chatter too much. I saw 2 of Cups, but that's a lot of cards, Spirit. Let's get one at a time, shall we? What can the spiral collective expect to release and refresh in this full moon in Cancer lunar cycle, transitioning into 2021, Spirit? What can the spiral collective expect to release and refresh? Hello, I am back. The card fell on the floor. This is the Fool card. Yes, a new chance, a new way of life, a new way of being, a new way of thinking, a new way of existing. For sure. On this particular Fool card, I really like it because not only do they have a star in their hand, but also you see the silhouette of a butterfly on the outside of it, so the theme of metamorphosis is present, allowing for some of us our emotional depth to be seen, allowing ourselves to freely engage in our sensitivity, even if it may be in a bit of an unorthodox way. Some of you may also be a bit creative, so maybe just refreshing your creative world and the ways in which you utilize resources to express it, which is being reinforced by the 9 of Pentacles that just came out, and also the 7 of Swords that have just come out as well. So I'm seeing a bit of a story here, but I do want to get a few more cards before I jump to conclusion. May I also get a clarifier for the Seven of Swords here, Spirit, for the Spiral Collective? What can I expect to release? Ooh, we got two. We have a few cards here, one at a time, mama. May I get a clarifying card for the Seven of Swords here, Spirit? What can the Spiral Collective expect to release and refresh with this full moon? Ooh. I feel like a lot of you have a lot going on. You're just not sure where to start first. I think a lot of you need more information in terms of, yes, here we go. Okay, so this makes sense. So we got Eight of Pentacles clarifying the Seven of Swords here. So I think that you just need more information in order for you to pave a way forward. I think that you need to release any expectations that you have once had of yourself, and for some of you, I'm also hearing the people around you. For some of you, this also may be a work situation. Some of the people that are there aren't necessarily trying to see you win, if that makes sense. I think that they see the sensitivity that you garner and try to use that against you. For others of you, if this isn't a particular work situation, I think that you need to work smarter, not harder. That's a very big message that I think applies to everyone, regardless of yes, with the tower moment here. Okay, so we're making sense here. We have a very interesting story going on here for you. I want to get one more card. Let's see, what can the Spiral Collective expect to release and refresh in this forward Cancer? Oof! Okay, well, this card popped up more than once, and it came with the Ace of Swords. You know what? I'm gonna leave these cards. Your group is very interesting. The way in which the cards are shuffling, let alone just falling out. There's definitely a story here. We're gonna get into. Let's get into it. Yes, there is a story. The bottom deck is the Eight of Wands, communication, baby. Okay, let's dive in. Let me set these all up so I can get the sequence of events out. You also have the most cards for tarot. So let's see what we're getting into. Right. Okay, so there's information that needs to be obtained in order for you to strive forward with your current sense of purpose or ambition. I think that considering that we have the King of Cups here, and then we have the Ten of Cups here, and right under the Ten of Cups is the Three of Swords, I think, like I was saying earlier, some of you have had to hide your vulnerability or your emotional depth because other people look to take advantage of that beautiful harmonious nature that you naturally retain within you. I think that because the Ten of Cups is being paired with the Tower for your reading, I definitely think that there's a breakthrough that occurs, or like a very sudden shift that you don't expect at all. For some of you, again, this may be that revelation of people not really having your best interest at heart with that Seven of Swords present. For others of you, it's simply information that is being presented at the forefront and cracking through the seams almost in ways that are a bit unexpected, really. It doesn't come to you in like a formal confession. That's more so of the Seven of Swords reversed. I think that it more so comes to you a bit scattered, and then it's like someone makes a final release of information that kind of just pieces all the puzzle together, and you're able to take all of that and cultivate it into a new way of thinking and expressing your logical and emotional world. Because here we have the Queen of Wands, and then we have the Ace of Swords next to it. The Queen of Wands is a very loving, very passionate, very charming figure. She has the same spectrum of love as the Queen of Cups does. However, she's just much more flashy about her expression of it. The Queen of Cups is a bit more subtle and a bit more mysterious as well. But I think that even though they both have a very powerful presence, the Queen of Wands is just much more at the forefront. So I think some of you may have to release a bit of that sensitivity and take a big stand for yourself. I think that you are being pushed to not defend, but honor who you really are and release anyone or anything that does not respect, let alone accept you and all of you. I think that what other people tend to say about you and how you process thoughts and emotions tends to block you from achieving new ways of thinking or behaving. And for others of you, I think that even though other people have slighted you in the past, you still are putting your best foot forward in the best way that you can. Right over here, we have I'm not entirely remembering of the Roman numerals, so please forgive me. Baby, math is not my strong suit. We have the lovers present over here. So with the lovers present right here, I definitely, this is that Mercury energy, so this is more so going back into the swords, the air energy that we see present with the Ace of Swords going over here. So with the lovers, I think that for some of you, it's making a choice in relation to your happiness. A choice in relation to you living your most authentic form of self in a way in which you are able to freely express who you are. What I find so interesting about your reading is how you have such an interesting progression of numbers. You go from 0 to 9 right over here with the Fool card, and then the 9 of Pentacles right over here, and then you have a 7 and an 8 down here, and then a 10 over here. So there's definitely a sequence that I'm seeing, kind of where you realize that you're this very unorthodox free spirit, and you're able to claim so much simply by being yourself. But because other people always have something to say about it, that stings. And even if you're able to still move forward and still find ways of claiming a sense of stability based on you being who you are, like even if you are have your own shop, or if you are a public figure of some sort, maybe even have a presence on the internet that I'm also hearing for some of you. I think that although you still manage to project an image of tranquility, it doesn't necessarily correspond with how you feel about all of the changes and all the slights that you have felt, even if those slights weren't intending to make you feel hurt or sad in any way, even if it was simply that just brought up an old wound or an old form of trauma for you. I think that it still makes you question if all of the success that you are now acclaiming is even worth it. I'm hearing for some of you, and for others of you, I'm hearing that this Tower moment that comes in, I think that it's really allowing you to gain a sense of ambition from all of the slights that you have been presented in the past. And in that you are choosing yourself, especially with this Lover's card over here, in that you are choosing you being you for all that you are, and allowing yourself to choose you first and foremost. That's what I'm hearing. I feel like a lot of you have also probably had to take on the responsibilities of others or the information of others, delegate your time and energy towards people, places, or opportunities that aren't necessarily akin to you or are intrinsic to you, but are separate but a part of your reality. I think this is a time where you choose your reality and focus in on what exactly it is that you are able to make from the past. For others of you, another thing that I'm seeing is that you'll be able to embark in a new job, but the people there are a bit jarring, going back to that employment situation that I had earlier. But the job itself, you find a sense of fulfillment in. I think that you'll have to choose between having a semi-hostile work environment versus having a sense of peace. And I think that some of you are going to choose peace, other you are going to choose your job. But I think that either way, it's still calling for you to have effective communication with all of the people and places that you are delegating your time and energy to, and assuring them that not just your happiness, but your ease is important to you. And at times it can also affect your ability to work as well. That's another thing that I'm also hearing. So I think that it's releasing anything that does not align with your ultimate sense of fulfillment. And I think that this tower moment is going to be very revealing of just what exactly it is. And I think that it has to do a lot with words and the people who project them, and just how deep they manage to cut with those words specifically. For some of you, this could also be you and your own internalized voice. I think that you see the beautiful, kind figure that you are, but you are very hard on yourself for it, and you tend to talk down on yourself for it, especially if other people slight you. You tend to lash out on you for allowing that to happen, and I think that it's time for that that negative inner dialogue to be toned down a bit, and for you to acclaim a new way of speaking to yourself that is very honest but also very compassionate as well. Because even though the Queen of Wands, like we saw here, is a very passionate figure, that doesn't mean that she's incapable of compassion. She is still very much aware of the people around her and how to relate and connect to them, which is why she is the very beloved figure that she is. She's just so much more forward about her ability to connect, whereas we talked about the Queen of Cups earlier, who is a bit more subtle and mystic with her connection to the world around her. So I definitely think that this is calling for you to delegate the sanctity of your emotional realm, and not allowing other people and their influence to negatively or even barely, I'm hearing for some of you, even if it's just like a very like one-off slight, and you know you can easily brush it off, but there's a part of you that's still like, yeah, but I still don't like how they said that. And you're still gonna dwell on it a little bit more. I think that it's just about allowing yourself to weed out those that don't have your best interest, or opportunities or places that don't have your best interest at heart, and for you to assure that your mind being not only clear but at peace is at the forefront, and releasing anything that does not allow you to retain that sense of harmony that you naturally have within you. I think that a lot of you have an emotional well that never runs dry, if that makes sense. There's a lot of depth to it, and I think that a lot of you have to appear to be much more shallow than you actually are. So this is the time where you put off the fake appearances, especially with that Seven of Swords here, and allow yourself to show all of you, your material and internal gain and structure, and allowing it to show very brightly, and not necessarily having to care about what other people have to say or think about it for the first time, and just allowing you to be you simply because you want to be you. That's a beautiful, beautiful way of thinking. You know, it's the most radical thing you can do for yourself, to just freely be who you are without letting other people and their expectations, let alone preconceived notions of you, dictate your behavior or emotional depth. I think that this is time for you to not have to put on any sort of appearance, and just simply be and simply exist. Refreshing your emotional depth is a very, very big theme for you, my beautiful Spiral Collective, and releasing anything that does not allow it to run as fluidly and as openly and as deeply as you know it does. So let's get some of these Eternal Crystal Oracle cards here. Oh yes, this is such a watery group. I love you guys. We have the Moonstone and the Bloodstone. Oh, I'm into this energy. Oh my god, that's literally the water and fire energy that we have present. There's so much duality present in all of these groups, and as an ethereal, bisexual, non-binary, I'm thriving on Let's get one more Eternal Crystal card, please, Spirit. Welcome this beautiful Spiral Collective. Expect to release and refresh during this full moon in Cancer cycle, transitioning into 2021. Woo! Okay, we got two more for you guys, actually. I'm not going to question Spirit. I'm going to just Leave her out. Your bottom deck energy is the pipestone, so ancestors. Oof. Some of you, I definitely think this is a mentorship, even connecting to elders or people around you that understand that sensitivity that you retain, and allowing them to not only guide but help you throughout your slight period of turbulence. Turbulence doesn't have to be bad. It's just much more impacting and also concentrated than you have originally anticipated. It's a bit shaky, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there's destruction. With the tower, it's already crumbling, so it's just taking down anything that's left. So don't mull over what exactly it is that could be lost, because it was already deteriorating in the first place. So with detoxifying under the bloodstone, that is definitely said for a reason. So we have Moonstone, Bloodstone, Kunzite, and Dioptas. Dioptas? Well, either way, it's a big ass blue card with a heart in the middle, so this is definitely for y'all. So this is direction, heart chakra. Yes! What were we talking about? We were talking about allowing your heart space to be at the forefront. And if anyone else says, no, 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 you say so, so, so. This is me. Accept me for all that I am. And if it is a problem, bye. Period. That is definitely a big theme for you, my beautiful Spiral Collective. Anyone that doesn't appreciate you for all that you are, they do not serve you and your growth and your happiness, and you cannot incorporate them unnecessarily into your spectrum of harmony, because they will continuously disrupt it. So releasing anyone that serves as a hindrance or an obstruction to the harmony you retain, they must go. So you are able to refresh yourself in a way that is clarifying to all that you are, especially with the detoxifying message present on the bloodstone over here. Detoxing is a very big theme for a lot of the groups, so I'm not surprised considering this is a full moon period and we are focusing on release after all. But I think detoxifying, again, from like those old words and slights of the past that we were talking about earlier, will be a very big theme for you, my Spiral Collective. Because this also goes to the root, heart, and the sacral chakra. Root is all about home. Heart is all about your emotional space. Sacral is all about your ambition and your way forward. So I definitely think that anything that has kind of tainted that sense of ambition, because a lot of you are dictated by your heart space. So anything that has served to obstruct it is definitely going to be out in the open, and it is definitely time for you to make those necessary changes so you can freely be and express all of you. So see with the moonstone here, this is moon cycles, the crown chakra over here. So I actually have a moonstone in my pillow right now, which is funny, so maybe this is for me. But I definitely think that with the moonstone here, this is about you freely connected to that beautiful lunar energy like we were talking about earlier, and allowing for your heart space to just radiate, really. I think that's the most beautiful part of your reading, my beautiful group one, as the blue candle goes out. Yes. It is definitely time for you to simply be you for all that you are. Sorry if it gets a bit dark over here. I actually am about to wrap up this reading really quick, so let's see if we can get this. I'm actually going to get another candle for you. Okay, we are back. Your blue candle went out, my beautiful watery Spiral Collective, my shell collective, I should say. So I want to go get another one real quick. We were down here on the Dioptes. I really hope I am not butchering the hell out of this pronunciation. But again, that direction, that heart chakra, and then here with the kunzite, it's children and it's the third eye chakra. So I definitely think that allowing your inner child to be at the forefront is very big for you, my Spiral Collective. Maybe those words and slights that we were talking about earlier had to deal more so with something that was a bit more of a home wound for some of you, maybe in terms of your emotional wellness. And for others of you, this also might more so be in relation to, I want to say more so of the immaturity that surrounds you. I think especially because this is under the detoxifying card, this is more so of asking of a release for energy in correspondence to whatever the card under it is. So I think that releasing anything about the immature things that people say or do, you know how people say kids say the darndest things. I think that this is something that you have to be mindful of, how even though someone else might be older than you, they might be a bit more stunted in their growth or sense of progression than you are. So all the words and actions that they project aren't necessarily reflective of their age. It's reflective of their stage of maturity, and that will never ever align with someone's age. So I think that for some of you, like, it may be a bit of a challenge to release that, because it presents itself as something that may go back again, like we were talking about earlier, into your childhood, or it might even go into home for others of you, or simply a foundational behavioral pattern or way of thinking or being for others of you. It's an integral part of who you are. Children are also very pure, so for others of you, this may be that sense of purity that you need to detoxify. Children engage the world with a very, not, I don't want to say naive, but inexperienced lens. So they're very open to experience for that reason. So I think that for others of you, you might just have to be a little bit more open to experience and allow yourself to explore your emotional depth and allow it to present itself with your inner child in the background, or in the forefront, I should say. Especially with that Fool energy over here. The Fool is Uranus energy, and Uranus is very unconventional and a little bit wacky. And then with the King of Cups over here, I definitely think that you expressing your emotional depth in a way that some other people might deem as childlike, but for you it's just very young and refreshing, and it keeps you on your toes, and it keeps your energy in check, and it also fuels it in a way. I think that embracing anything that simply allows you to feel the most connected to all forms of you in all stages of your life cycle is very, very important throughout that, and releasing anything that doesn't allow you to feel connected to all parts of you, and so you can refresh your connection and relationship with yourself. So let's get an angelarium oracle card to wrap up your beautiful reading, my Spiral Collective. What can they expect with this lunar cycle and Cancer? And what can they expect to release and refresh, transitioning into 2021 spirit? What can the Spiral Collective expect to release and refresh in this Cancer cycle? Transitioning into 2021. Alright, I'll take her. Ooh, Judgment again! Your bottom deck energy is Gabriel, Angel of Heralds. Let's see if I can get over here. Woo! Come on, Gabriel. Yes! I love it. He has like the beautiful diamond figure over here, and this landscape and these colors. I am living for these cards, honestly. So your card is Gevura. Gevura. That sounds the most appropriate. Gevura, the Judgment card in the Angelarium deck. I know you guys probably can't see it too well, but he actually has a skull head, and then has this beautiful burst of flames as the torso. What is with this group and fire? If it's not fire, it's energy that's a bit more red, but it looks like the embers of a fire, actually. I stand corrected. And then he has a very big sword going through right here that he's standing on, and I feel like that's your Ace of Swords. That's your pillar of truth that you're standing on, my Spiral Collective. You're allowing the truth to be your weapon and your compass, as well as your trusty companion in your way forward, and not allowing anyone to compromise your truth or your ability to express it. I think that this judgment moment that is going to be here for you is definitely going to help you find ways in which you aren't judging yourself. I think that judgment for a lot of you is definitely stemming from other people or from the internal dialogue from within, but I think it's time for you to release your construct of judgment. Judgment is simply here to align you with your purpose. It's not here to cast an expectation or shallow analysis of your particular progression. It is here to allow you to pave a new way forward so you can be fully immersed in your experience and not simply be a passerby in your own life. I think that this has been a long time coming for a lot of you, especially with this judgment card present. I also think, of course, of the judgment card in the major arcana in tarot, so kind of putting a bit of that definition, mixing it with this individual one as well, that soul calling, that soul purpose. I think that you really honoring the integrity of your spirit is key here, my Spiral Collective, and not being afraid to fight for it, first and foremost, and also building enough fortitude and strength within it so no one even dares to challenge it in the first place is going to be a very big theme for you. But I think that you have pushed through quite a bit as is, and I think that you're a bit on your last hurrah, if I'm honest, so you can finally acclaim that sense of harmony on your outer realm that accurately reflects the one that exists on your inner spectrum. I'm very, very happy for you, and I'm happy to see you acclaim all of you in this portion of your experience. So that is what I'm seeing for you, my beautiful Spiral Collective. Apologies for the light and also my dog just messing around and frolicking in the background. Do let me know what you think of the reading down below. Let me know if anything resonates. I'm looking forward to hearing and working with you soon, and I'll see you later. Bye.